kept fainting. He wanted Ngannou to throw the right jab. Hello, casuals. Welcome to the Casual Experience Show. And I'm here with my friends, Wale and GOC.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Nice having me on the show.
Welcome, guys. And we've been talking about the fight that happened last night. You can gladly say that PFL won the fight, the cards of last night. Africa won.
Africa won, yeah.
Yeah, Africa won.
PFL influenced Africa won. PFL and Bellator together, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Some fighters from, they bought Bellator.
Okay.
PFL. So some of the fighters that are still on Bellator contracts are still wearing the Bellator shots.
Oh, I see.
Fighters like AJ McKee.
Oh.
But the fights we were here to talk about,
Ngannou.
fire.
Ngannou has cleared all the doubters, proven them wrong again. I mean, it was his PFL debut. Amazing. I mean, has all the reasons why he shouldn't perform as excellent as he performed yesterday. But, man, I was stunned.
Ngannou has been setting standards. I mean, even right when he was still at the UFC, he was always going. He was always surmounting
obstacles and challenges
and hurdles. He was always going for the difficult challenges.
Yes,
he has never been one to back out of a fight, and I think for going through those challenges he went through and still coming out on top. It's really something.
I feel it's hugely underrated, though.
Yeah. But did you guys see the fight going beyond first round at any point?
Well, I knew there was going to be a knockout because the Ferreira guy is also not to be underestimated. He has
very
some
powerful
great
guy.
and beautiful knockouts.
Yes,
and Ngannou fought the smart, smart fight. So I mean,
the way the fight actually went was the way I actually saw it. I told my guys,
you thought you were going to?
No, I didn't wrestle. I didn't wrestle. Yeah, because this is an evolved Ngannou. Number one, the patient Ngannou. Number two, an Ngannou that wrestles. An experienced Ngannou. See how he won Cyril Gane was wrestling. So I didn't see him just striking and trading with that guy. No. Although he said that if he connects with the guy's chin, is a nightmare.
They were flinging. Can't you see the way they were throwing punch?
In heavyweight category, anybody has a puncher's luck. Anybody can knock out anybody.
They all carry power.
They all have power.
However, this guy seemed to be bulkier than Ngannou.
Yes,
261.
He looked bigger.
He seemed to be very comfortable in his weight as well.
Yes.
Because he was moving very smartly. He was moving fast. He was sharp.
Yes.
His punches were accurate. And if one had connected with Ngannou, I don't think Ngannou too would have been able to.
He was trying to draw the jab of Ngannou in. He kept fainting. He wanted Ngannou to throw the right jab.
Come in. And he had a longer reach.
Yes.
And for somebody like Ngannou who had been fighting with the reach advantage, it is different waters for him with somebody with longer reach,
longer leg reach.
You might get carried away. And you might be drawn into that range because the smartest thing I don't even know the smartest thing was when he take it down.
He was on southpaw, right?
He made sure he was close to the fence.
Yes,
and he shot for the takedown.
Exactly.
You understand? I didn't give him the room to. It is this. If you watch the detail, if you watch. Some people will just say it, Ngannou shot for takedown. Yeah. But there are a lot of build up to that particular takedown. Because Ngannou did not shoot for takedown when they were in the middle.
Yeah,
exactly.
He waited till
when they were close to the
Ngannou
cage.
Planned the takedown. He shot it, he got it, and he won with it.
Yes. Because I noticed when the guy threw his right overarm, he waved it and threw his own. Ngannou threw his left and kept pressuring him against the cage.
Yeah,
and that was intentional. And when the guy now threw the overarm, that was the opening he needed.
His own was telegraphed.
It was very telegraphed.
The guy could not. When you throw your overarm, you are reaching forward.
Yes.
So as he threw the overarm, Ngannou ducked down
under it.
And just grabbed him because there was no way he could go back.
He saw the sequence was telegraphed when he threw it and he could not go back.
And that can only come from experience. Having fought many fighters.
The guys were fighting carpenters, plumbers, non-professionals.
and normally when we watch fights of those kind of magnitude and we see the person that grapples taking an opponent down, we'll be like,
you don't really know what went into timing the takedown.
Yes. And sometimes the grappling sequence becomes so boring. We'll be like, they started wrestling again. But he did the perfect thing he was supposed to do.
There are about 1 million things that go. There are about 1 million things that happen when somebody is another person on the floor. You understand? There is a part where you are using your leg to ensure that their legs, they're not getting, your hips are holding them down to make sure that they're not changing position.
Yes, I don't
your
leverage.
chest is making sure. There are different parts of the body working simultaneously. And for somebody that is not, that is not interested in grappling or takedowns and all those, you just see it as two adults humping each other.
And if you noticed, Ngannou, when he was in the guy's guard, the guy was trying to go for a kimura. Remember? And then when Ngannou moved to his life again, he was trying to do a triangle. That's credit to Ferreira.
Ngannou needed his back.
Exactly. That was the sequence I needed.
But with Ngannou between the guy's leg, Ngannou wouldn't have been able to turn him.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
The only way Ngannou could have turned him to the back would have been if Ngannou was outside the guy's guard.
Outside.
That was the only way Ngannou could have turned him.
He set up a triangle.
And the risk is that in getting out of the guard, you might leave your hand.
Yes, and that guy's a professional.
But don't you think it was a late stoppage? Because I felt the guy was already out.
In all fairness,
he could have taken his life.
No. In all fairness to the ref, I think for the magnitude of that fight, he didn't want a bad stoppage.
Yes,
he didn't want a situation where he would stop the fight and Ferreira was still very conscious.
But if you look, if he kept, did you see the way Ngannou was throwing punch? The guy was literally.
All his power
jumping into he was eating through the guard. The guy was guarding.
He wounded his eyes. His eye was
cut. Do you know Ngannou to punch lighter than that?
No.
But I was at the point saying, the guy is out. The guy is out. Even the commentator were saying it's out.
But the guy's guard was still up. It was still covering his head.
Yes.
So for that, he was still fighting. He was still in the fight. For you, if you are still defending, if you are still defending, you are still in the fight, regardless of whether you have been knocked out and nobody saw that you have been. But the moment the ref sees that your hand is up and not down, it doesn't stop the fight. Because it would have been a bad stoppage if you had stopped the fight and saw that you were very conscious.
Yes.
You understand? Yeah. So he allowed the hand. You see, it was when the hand dropped and there was an undefended punch.
That's when he stopped.
And it's a very big props to Ngannou because first and foremost, Ngannou has never taken a guy who is as big as that guy.
Yes.
That guy is 261 coming to that fight and didn't take him down with a single leg. A single leg is just the way you take someone down that is as big. He took with double,
literally carried
down. And control that guy on the ground with his own weight.
Exactly.
Oh man, that was so amazing.
And when the guy turned and the guy was on the back, this if you watch Izzy's fight, he slightly gives you the back to be able to
stand up. Yes,
you understand?
To spring.
Izzy finds it hard to get up when his back is to the so he gives you the back to be able to stand. Now the guy could have easily stood up when Ngannou was at the back. But thanks to experience, thanks to...
He kept hooking on his leg. He was hooking on his leg.
Ngannou puts all his weight on the guy's hips.
Yes, on the hips.
So much that there's so much weight on the knee for the guy to get up.
Wow.
So
I see it now.
He was wearing him from the back.
Yes. And the only heavyweight that seems to stand up anyhow without regards to technique is Derrick Lewis, that one he just gets up. But how about the outpour of emotions after the fight?
I mean, after
I was so touched.
I'm sure that going into that fight, a lot aside his child, it must be Dana White must have crossed his mind.
Yes.
The whole UFC team must have crossed his mind.
Yes.
And he not being able to afford being a failure after leaving UFC would have crossed his mind.
Yes.
And successfully surpassing all the challenges.
So many doubters, many question marks, many haters. Because that was his first test in MMA after that Dana White fracas.
If you check his coach, the guy with dreads,
Eric Nixon, they were crying together.
They know what they put into that.
Yes,
you understand. They know how far they come. They know the amount of doubts, the amount of
shit talking. After the AJ fight, they knocked you out.
They
said you recover?
It was a fluke, and when he fought a proper fighter, he was knocked down.
Within the past 18 months, he's surmounted hurdles that a human being would just succumb to. He had his boxing debut against Fury.
We
all a successful. We felt he won.
He was robbed
in the fight. He had his fight against.
He won.
I don't think he's the first fighter to be robbed against
boxing.
Of course,
even last week we were talking about it last week. Yes, even the Bivol fights. You know, boxing is just that. The plenty indecisions with boxing, but he surmounted all those.
He's 38 years old. His first Shug.
He lost his son, 15-month-old son, and it just shows.
And I don't think he could have had a more difficult
debut. PFL debut. Because either ways, the PFL were ready to go all banks on the Ferreira. He's an upcoming star.
McGregor had a $500,000.
Bet on him against Ngannou. I saw it this morning. 500,000.
Why would you bet against Ngannou?
Because McGregor is part of the UFC organization.
Yes.
Right? Okay. McGregor is part of the UFC. Is the whether he likes to admit it openly or not.
He's their poster boy.
Yeah.
He's their business partners.
So I'm not sure he's happy about Ngannou calling out the UFC and leaving the UFC. I'm sure a lot of people were rooting.
Did Ngannou call out UFC?
Yes.
I didn't hear the post fight.
No. Before he left.
Yes, he's always called out. You know, Dana White always talk shit about him.
Yes. And you know, it is bad business for stakeholders.
Yes. So a heavyweight fighter to call you out that way.
Bad business for stakeholders. Who McGregor is one of.
And that thing.
Or which McGregor is one of.
If he was in bare knuckles, you know, McGregor is an investor. He's a shareholder in bare knuckles.
McGregor would have wanted.
He would have. Yes, he would have. If Ngannou was in bare knuckles,
but who would have been able to fight Ngannou at bare knuckles?
Nobody.
Really.
With his raw
African
knuckles,
sun-jacked hands,
with his real
hands.
And so, what do you think is next for Ngannou? Because I think Ngannou has separated himself from the crowd. Undoubtedly in the hallmark of fame, undoubtedly in the GOAT conversation. Ngannou has fought everybody. There's nothing again to prove. Let's leave boxing aside because if we talk about that one, there are a lot of controversies. In MMA right now, Ngannou is on top of the food chain. So talking about MMA, what do you think is the next challenge for Ngannou? Or is there no challenge for Ngannou?
The only challenge I see is John Jones. And
I don't think he has to fight John Jones to be.
The UFC won't even do that. No, yes.
I don't think. Before John Jones, John Jones is UFC GOAT.
Agreed.
Not MMA GOAT.
But he's not heavyweight GOAT.
No, Stipe Miocic is still in MMA GOAT.
Hold on. No, let's
that's why
just looking at
Ngannou never fought in light heavyweight.
Yes, we're looking at just weight classes. Let's look at MMA GOAT.
No, I'm just
heavyweight.
I'm just approaching it from a logical point of view, from a mathematical point of view. We used to say that if Ngannou had fought light heavyweight, he wouldn't have dominated.
Thank you.
He only fought heavyweight.
Thank you.
And John Jones is yet to accomplish what Ngannou has accomplished
in heavyweight. Thank you. I agree with you on that.
Miocic was
considered the greatest heavyweight GOAT.
He's still,
yes. Right? And Ngannou
defeated him.
So he's a heavyweight GOAT now.
You understand? Ngannou defeated Alistair Overeem.
Yes.
Ngannou defeated
Rosenstrike. Knocking them out to cut his blade. Yes.
First round.
Ngannou has gone to
boxing
to defeat
their biggest threat. Gave a problem to a problemer.
Now, yes. It is until John Jones. I'm not saying John Jones is not UFC GOAT. You understand? When you talk about overall achievement in UFC.
Okay, MMA, let's say.
Yes, you understand? No, I'm not even.
Right now,
there are some people.
Promotions.
There are some people in, there are all these Chinese people that didn't make it to,
the big limelight. Okay, I feel you. UFC, okay.
You understand? When you mention people like Anderson Silva,
GSP,
you have to mention John Jones.
Yes,
that's undoubtable.
He's number
one. When you talk about heavyweight GOATs, now you're micro-analyzing now.
Right.
You're not talking about the
holistically,
UFC. Now, in the heavyweight category of the UFC, I do not think John Jones should be considered GOAT.
I agree with you.
I do not think he should be put in pound for pound, because he has only fought one fight in the heavyweight category.
And that's why he wants the Miocic fight so bad. He believes that
Miocic has been used and done.
He feels if he wins,
a firefighter who's retired.
But regardless, he has his legacy. He feels if he wins Miocic, he becomes.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you. Ngannou has defeated Miocic.
Good. So
we know Miocic can be defeated.
Yes.
Now we have seen it. what does beating Miocic do
to your legacy?
John Jones' legacy?
It's just the name, because it's the same question I'll ask you. Why is Tom Aspinall chasing after John Jones so bad? It's the legacy.
John Jones is active.
Inactive or activity, the all fighters come with their legacy. So their track record always tell, regardless of their age, the young lion, that's how it is in MMA. The young lion will always want to go for the older lion.
If he beats GSP today,
Usman is not.
Usman is one. Usman is
already a goat now.
He's one of the welterweight goats.
Would they rank
you can't call
rank higher than GSP? Your
Do you know why he will rank higher than GSP?
If he beats GSP today,
no.
Would they rank higher than GSP?
Let me tell you the only reason why.
Of course.
Let me tell you the only reason
of course. Why do you think there was a point where Khabib and there was a call for Khabib and GSP fights?
Okay, today let's say
your legacy.
Let's say this guy Islam. If he decides to beat, if he fights Khabib today and he beats Khabib, would he rank higher than Khabib?
Yes.
Ooh, yes. Do you know why? Because regardless of how old you are, regardless of how inactive you are, your legacy still remains the same. So that is why a 50-year-old plus Mayweather, people are still calling him out. That's why he's still. You think if don't say that.
Because those are like
Easy. Don't say that. If Easy wins and now Anderson Silva Anderson Silva has the highest championship wins.
Exactly. Now you're talking about other factors. You see, you were basing it on they fought, he beat him. Now, regardless of whether John Jones beats Miocic now or not, he won't still rank higher than Miocic in heavyweight division because he has not done so many things.
What has Miocic done?
You understand? He has not done so many things that would have cemented his status, and he's not the first person to beat Miocic.
Okay,
you understand? So it won't do anything to his legacy. I think fighting Aspinall would do better for his legacy than Miocic.
I don't agree with you. I don't think so. Champion.
Okay,
but the legacy. No, just not fight. First of all, okay, let's see this way. Let me see. Let's go with Usman first and foremost. The only reason why, to me, Usman's resume to me is more impressive than GSP's. The only reason why GSP's is more is because GSP took a 4-year retirement break and came back and collected the belt from the middleweight champion.
If we decide to talk about the GOAT conversation now,
let's go back to heavyweight.
We won't finish now.
I feel that what's his name? John Jones undeniably is the greatest of all time in UFC. But now he needs to beat the person that has beaten Stipe to be the heavyweight.
Exactly. So if the fight does not happen, now it takes us back to your question that what next for
Ngannou. Okay.
Now I think for the security of John Jones' legacy in the heavyweight division, he needs to fight Ngannou. Whether they do a cross promotion,
but you know the UFC won't do that.
They'll do that. UFC won't do that. Alashe could bring out 10 million naira and give
not against a competing fight promotion.
What did Dana White say? Dana White said Ngannou chickened out of the UFC because he was scared of competition.
Dana White would always promote his promotion, and so with the PFL.
But they can make money together with John Jones Ngannou fight.
The UFC doesn't need it. The UFC still remains the biggest, richest.
No, that's not what they're trying to prove.
It's not that.
Okay.
The UFC doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. They don't need an Ngannou. It's the fight we know needs to happen.
Yes.
But the UFC doesn't need.
They need the money.
Do you think the
UFC? Let me tell you now. See why they need the money, because there's another salt bridge that was salt bridge.
Let me tell you.
Salt bridge.
Salt
bridge is Tokyo Alashe
in as long as
Saudi
Dana
Arabia
White remains the CEO of UFC. I can promise you there will be no cross promotion between the UFC.
There will be, because
there won't.
The Saudi Arabia were part of the sponsors.
Thank you of this one. Riyadh season.
Credits to the Saudi Arabians. Let me tell you their
plan. Commissioner for sports is investing.
Let me tell you their plan and intention.
Okay.
The Saudi Arabians.
Yes.
They are going to turn Riyadh. They are going to turn Saudi Arabia to the new Mecca of fighting.
Thank you.
You see how Las Vegas is?
Yes.
That is what
that's
Saudi
their intention. So it's going to happen.
The past known 4-3 fights
boxing
has been Saudi.
MMA.
Now, just the same way the wrestling, WWE now is being promoted by Saudi. UFC is a rolling train on its own.
Yes.
I'm not saying that Ngannou and John Jones isn't the fight to happen, or it's not the fight that we the fans crave for, right?
But it might not happen.
It might not happen. It will. I don't even feel it to happen. Do you know why? UFC accepts that MMA fighting is over. Look, You see, they went against the boxing card when Canelo fought. They put on Merab hand because they didn't give a shit about boxing.
Yes.
When Ngannou and Ferreira had to fight yesterday, they know that no matter the fights they put up, even if it was Conor McGregor fighting yesterday, every eye will be on Ngannou and Ferreira fight.
Yes.
Because in the fights promotion yesterday, that was the biggest fight to see.
Ngannou is a star now.
Now, at this juncture, I would like to ask you now. Do you think the UFC needs John Jones more than John Jones needs the UFC? Because from that angle, if Rhea season approaches John Jones and say, we are paying you X amount of money,
10 million, 50
you
million.
must make this fight happen between you and Ngannou. It can force the UFC, and if the UFC is the one that needs it,
it will put people on the seat.
Let me tell you.
Do you know what? He wants to please Turkey a la share.
This is it. You guys. Riyadh, anybody cannot approach John Jones for a fight. John Jones is contracted to UFC.
Yes. But he can retire.
That's the only way.
He can say, I'm retiring and I'm going out of promotion to fight.
Trust me, if John Jones retires today, if Conor McGregor retires today, the UFC keeps rolling.
Can the UFC give John Jones $50 million? If
there is a fight,
there's a money fight now. Good money to see now. Tokalasha give you 25 million.
Exactly now.
No.
The Rhea season can give John Jones 100 million.
That is why they cut off this undefeated fighter that just went up.
Muslim.
Yes, because that fight promotion was talking to him and they let him go. UFC is a selfish.
The jealous one. That's the word.
No. See, there are people that the UFC. There are people that the UFC can afford to let go. There are people that can call UFC to their bullshit. For example, we have said before McGregor became a stakeholder in the UFC.
Do you think McGregor could have fought earlier?
No, hold on.
Before now, do you think he could have fought earlier?
Hold on. No, I'll still get to the later part of McGregor's life. I'm talking about the initial part of McGregor, the arrogant McGregor, the confrontational McGregor. He had a lot of spats with Dana White, but if he was a fighter like Muslim, Dana White could have called his bullshit.
Yes,
but he was UFC cash cow.
Yes.
John Jones is a UFC cash cow.
You understand? The 2015-2016 Conor McGregor.
Yes.
He was undeniable.
Exactly.
He was an undeniable person.
Do you think at that position he couldn't have negotiated anything with his position?
And he was getting the highest now.
Exactly.
Pay-per-views, he was collecting the highest.
Is John Jones undeniable?
Yes. If John Jones says, if John Jones says, if John Jones says, I want to fight Aspinall today, they will sell out. If John Jones says, I want to fight Derrick Lewis today, they will sell out. No, I'm even looking at the worst protest. If John Jones says he wants to fight Curtis Blade today,
undeniability doesn't go to the point of where you will say. It doesn't go to the point of where you will say, go to the UFC's brass and tell them that I want to fight Ngannou and you think
do you know why I think he's undeniable? For Dana White to still rank him pound for pound. Dana White says he's pound for pound.
Because Dana White saw the progress and transitions of John Jones, just like us.
Dana White is ready to do anything to make John Jones happy. I feel so.
He won't make him happy. Do you know why? Okay, if he even wants to make him happy, just for the dispute between him and Ngannou, he's not going to let that happen. How about that? Dana White won't let that happen.
Dana White does not want John Jones to fight Aspinall. Do you know why?
See.
Dana White does not want John Jones to fight Aspinall. Do you know why? Because the mystery behind John Jones will be unraveled, and he won't be a cash cow anymore.
Well, let's tell you something.
So if there was a prospect for him to make so much money, imagine if they come to offer Dana White, let's say $200 million. And they say, make this fight happen between John. Do you think Dana White will say no to money?
Okay, let me explain this.
He's a businessman at the end of the day.
That the biggest MMA fight of all time, this is contention for the GOATs in MMA ever, is John Jones and Ngannou. Are you aware of that?
I agree with that.
One, that's true. So now, see the big promotion on the line.
Ngannou can make money. John Jones can make money.
Saudi Arabia, Tokalasha is willing to do at least 20-25 million for these two people. Are you aware of that?
Each.
This guy was even able to pull a negotiation of $2 million for this Ferreira fight, though. Anyway, they paid that $2 million. And also now, with the way Ngannou is, his experience and exposure to boxing, and the way Ngannou is now, if Ngannou beats Stipe, that's the next fight in the conversation, my brother.
I think Ngannou does not even have to fight John Jones as much as John Jones needs to fight Ngannou.
Thank you.
You understand? Because Ngannou has been there. He has done. He has made it visible that he wanted the fight. You understand? He has gone to challenge people that are more respectable in the sports than John Jones.
Yes.
You understand? I don't think John Jones is at the level in MMA that Tyson Fury is in boxing. You understand what I'm saying? For all that,
boxing is a wider,
and he has gone there,
and you understand, and he has gone to face Tyson Fury without fear. You understand? I don't think it's about.
But above all, guys, we should give credit to Ngannou.
Of course,
we as Africans,
of course,
we are celebrating him today, and I'm sure throughout this week we'll keep having this conversation. And if we say we keep talking about this particular person,
we will finish.
we will finish because we have 308 to talk about, and which will be on our preview next week.
Right.
We have Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria. You see, Ilia has been talking so much shit,
man.
And you were saying before,
how many fights has Ilia had after his victory, after his championship?
None. This will be his
I think I don't like fighters that duck. You understand?
Who do you think is
was it injury?
He didn't duck.
Was it injury?
He didn't have a great pay-per-view. He didn't duck anybody.
Was it injury?
That made him not fight this long.
Israel goes out to ask for fights.
Wow.
Just so that
he can be active.
You understand? Israel literally gave Pereira the chance. Israel has given a lot of people. Israel gave Romero the chance. Israel called out people just to make sure that there is activity.
Who's that? Which fight?
Ilia. The last fight against his last fight.
Knuckle injury.
Yes.
What about people that had knee injury?
No, the injuries.
Ngannou has.
Him as a champion, he has to watch out for himself. And the reason why he asked for Holloway or where the UFC brass,
he did not ask for Holloway.
The UFC brass, why they gave him?
I mean, what? How audacious can it be?
Hold on now. Okay. As a champion,
Holloway's victory over Gege.
As a champion, he could have decided. He has a say in who he fights or defends his belt. He's interested in that BMF belt, even though it's not on the line. You see, even in their interview, he was holding his belt. The fact that he has in his head that he's going to fight Max and he's going to win him, and mentally in his head that he's won the BMF belts off him is sufficient for him. He's been talking shit to everybody. Even to Conor. Yesterday, he was talking shit to Conor McGregor, telling him how rich he is.
He's just selling his fight anyways. I mean, he can't possibly be calling Conor McGregor broke.
Yeah, obviously we know that he's not as rich as Conor McGregor. He was even saying he feels sometimes when he looks at his lower half, he feels he's African because he feels that his bigger part is like Ngannou's own. Just talking different kind of shit.
Don't mind if you humiliated.
So, guys, on this note,
and Max Holloway, I hope Max Holloway gives him a masterclass in striking.
This episode, I see you on the preview show of 308. Thank you, Wale, for coming, and thank you, GOC, for coming as always. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Catch you at the preview show.
Peace out.